I'm George Popi, and this is Digging In, a show where I make someone dinner and we talk about things. This week's guest is Andrew Main-Oster. He's a filmmaker based in Montreal, and I'm really excited to talk more with him. So yeah, let's dig in.
Cool, man.
Yeah, welcome to dinner.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Again, and I very much chose a video maker instead of like a cinematographer. Like there's a very clear distinction.
Yeah. Would you say that's what you are? You're like a videographer. You make videos, or do you?
Oh
would you
no,
consider
I would
yourself-
say, like, I aspire to be a cinematographer. I think I'm on that path. Maybe the stuff I have done before, I've been more just video. Whereas like, hey, I'm getting my foot in the door and I'm learning here. So I'm not gonna pretend like I'm the shit. But
what would you say is the difference between like a video, like
Yeah.
a videographer and a cinematographer
So,
or a filmmaker?
yeah, the
you
best-
know? It's like
the best definition I've heard that I really like is where a videographer, they're there to like get it, like just make a video, like shoot something. Whereas a cinematographer, they're really thinking about what does this image, how does it impact the story, how does it push the story forward.
fair. Yeah.
So it's adding that layer of storytelling to it. So it's the difference between, you know, literally showing up with the camera and pressing record, or coming in and being like, this is how we're going to shoot this, to make decisions about how this looks artistically.
Right.
And what impact is this saying to the whole as a piece.
Yeah.
It's a distinction, maybe that it's just a spectrum where, you know.
I would also say video has a certain look, whereas like a film has a certain look. Not necessarily by just the image, but like the mood, the feel, how it's cut, what's being used, is there dialogue, is it a montage, you know? Like all these things really all these things I just said could go into a video, but could also go into a film.
Yeah.
But there's a very clear distinction that's kind of a gray zone that you just feel and see when you watch something. Oh, this is a video. I know it's a video. Whereas when you're watching something that's a film, you just, okay, there's been this extra bit of work, this extra artistic feel that is a film. You know, whether it's shot on film or not, whether it is like a video, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I miss this more salad.
Go for it.
What about you, man?
Do you want more? Do you want pasta?
No, I'm chill.
Okay.
I'm good. What about you? Do you want salad? Do you take some?
No, I'm not a big salad person.
So like, this is all for me?
This is all for you.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it's basically, we divided it on the line of vegetarian and non-vegetarian.
Yeah.
You got the salad out with meatballs.
Okay, well, I'm finishing the salad. What was daily vlogging like?
It was rough because like the point of the daily vlog, it was, if you know how like Casey Neistat used to do it, like the point of the daily vlogs were actually to showcase his company, and then it turned into like him just like having an incredible daily vlog. I kept too close to like, hey, look at the struggle of starting a company. So it was just like, I look at it now, and I can just see how stressed out I was. But it was soothing, and like what my routine would be, like in the morning I would literally show up every single day. I would pull out the camera when I got to work at 6 in the morning, and then film for like half an hour where just like, hey, here's my thought of the day, just because like this is kind of what's going on, and then edit that and then release it. I look back and like I wish it was more cinematic, but like I also didn't have time to do anything else.
Yeah, fair. I don't know how bloggers have any time to do anything. But
I don't think they do.
Yeah, the good ones at least. No, they put a lot of time and energy.
They have
into
to.
it.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Is that a video or a film? A vlog?
I think it depends on who.
Yeah. See, it's case to case, man. Like.
Yeah, I think the vast majority are videos, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think that's also why like I kind of stopped, and why I haven't gone to that in a while. Where I think that's also like where I see the difference between, you know, most YouTubers and then filmmakers, where, you know, a YouTuber, and like this is nothing wrong, whereas like you're completely happy with like, you know what, you're just trying to capture a moment,
right,
and that's it. Whereas a filmmaker, it's like you might, I think more of the time you're going to want to really spend some time into trying to figure out how you're showcasing that message or that idea. And it's not like you're gonna want to put more resources in potentially. It's not just like, oh hey, like come here, capture it and be done. You're gonna sit on a little bit more. Again, there's there's a huge gray area because like there's some that like kind of go back and forth
some
between.
are just like actual films and they're very good.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
I think that's like a broad generalization. I think that's kind of the difference when someone
Yeah.
really talks about the two.
Yeah.
It's like the same reason like you look at, you know, YouTube content versus Netflix content. It's just like there's a difference of scope.
Yeah, a difference of scope, difference of quality, difference of so many differences. Yeah. And you traveled across Canada, you said?
I did.
From east to west?
Yeah, the full country.
Cool. You started from here?
No, I started from Halifax.
Started from Halifax.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Took the train out to Halifax and took the train all the way to Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you? It just made sense to like go.
It, like it's like it's again it. I had a pass for 2 months to travel like by train unlimited.
Oh, you got that?
Not that one. Everyone talks about that one.
Yeah, it was a great deal, dude. I wanted that.
I
deal.
know, but they have because actually they always have a deal for if you're under 25, you can get for 2 months the unlimited for $800. The one that you're talking, yeah.
Wait, what?
So
Like still to this day.
To this day, yeah. Every single year
Under
they have
25.
that. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't need to do that
Yeah.
this year. Then.
Compared to like the deal that you're talking about was like the Canada 150, and it was for a month 150 bucks.
Yeah.
But that was a horrible deal actually because
yeah, just everyone did it.
because everyone did it, but it was also the fact that it was in July. So you know because everyone could only do it in July, the trains were always booked.
Wow,
So it was a bad deal actually. It was like, and it was also not enough time to travel that much.
Yeah. You
Where,
can't
like-
see the whole country. In a
No,
month.
like,
Are
you-
kidding me?
like-
It's massive.
Yeah, like getting out west, it takes from Toronto I think 4 days by train.
Well, I drove back from
Yeah.
Thunder Bay when I was out there for school, and just that was like 26 hours.
Yeah.
And I thought I was far, but looking on a map, I wasn't even that far.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that was the longest drive of my life. So I can only imagine. But a train must have been nice going across Canada. Yes and no. I mean, it's pretty boring in the middle, eh?
Oh yeah.
Just flat.
Just flat. I don't think I've avoided trains since.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
What, you like sleep on it, eat on it, everything, right? Like.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Live
It's
on the
just
train.
it's kind of uncomfortable. Because
yeah,
like I'd
wasn't it
even
nice?
stop like along every single stop, like major stop. Actually, no, every single stop. I like apart from a couple in Ontario, I hit. So you know, you'd be on the train for 12 hours, and then you'd get off, and then you'd get back on the train in a couple days, stuff like that.
Okay.
So it was cool. Like Winnipeg, a hidden gem, actually.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to be a really interesting city, especially for the creative types.
Yeah, in the future, like to come.
Yeah, it's like how because Montreal is probably going to explode. We just have too much tech scene.
Yeah,
the prices
it's
are going
crazy.
to the prices are going to go way up soon because it's undervalued as a major city. I think Winnipeg is going to be the new hub.
Like the new kind of version of Montreal, kind of like the smaller major city, but still has like a
Still has art.
like has a still art world and isn't like crazy expensive. And do you believe in aliens? Like, what do you think about outer space? Like,
Outer space?
is there other stuff out there?
I think that
like-
it just scientifically there have to be aliens.
Okay.
If we're alone in the universe, that's kind of sad.
Super sad.
Yeah.
I really hope not, but
Like yeah, I think it's just like the space is so vast and we're so insignificant that that's why like we haven't found any aliens.
so you believe in the universe as being like this huge amount of dark space and matter, and it's going and going, and there's multiple other like solar systems and all this stuff. It's not like we're living in a matrix box kind of thing. We're not living.
Well, I think even if we are living in a matrix box, it doesn't make a difference. It really, like it doesn't like because it's even if we are, we're stuck in the system. What's the point of being mad that like if it is a matrix and it isn't real?
Yeah.
We're still stuck by the rules of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of really, it's not in anyone's interest to be like, well, fuck everything, this isn't real. It's like, well, then okay, have a shitty life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, like, for me, it's a moot point.
Yeah, it's true. It goes nowhere fast.
Yeah.
Thinking like that goes nowhere fast. But there are a lot of people that think that we're living in like a VR alternative world or, you know, whatever
Yeah,
it is.
it's like, I think.
But how can you think that? For me, it's like, I'm not even that much of a scientific person.
Yeah.
And there's just, unless the internet by all means is 100% false, there's just so much information out there about space and about Earth and about the creation of life and all these things that it's like, it's almost hard not to believe in the science. That, for me at least, that's the way it's just, there's so much evidence there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The evidence for like scientifically speaking of why people are saying like, oh, this might be a hologram and this is the Matrix or whatever, is because like we have issues with quantum physics and combining it with non-quantum physics.
Okay.
And that usually gets resolved if you add extra dimensions. And so why do we, like people, that's why like quantum physics, to make it work, like there's usual talk of 10 or 11 dimensions to make it actually, like the math makes sense.
Okay.
So if there's 10 or 11 dimensions, but yet we only experience 4 because, you know, 3 of space and 1 of time, where the other like 7.
Yeah.
So that's why the whole idea of hologram is kind of, there is realm for actual theoretical physics. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like one of those things like we can't perceive it. So like, again, that's why I say it's kind of a moot point day to day, but it's very interesting science. It's very complicated physics. I can only scratch the surface of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, there is a theory where, you know, to fight evil, you have to kind of squelch it to begin with. But I think that my issue with that isn't, like, I see the logic of, like, you know, if, like, for example, if someone's like an alt-right, like they're racist, they're xenophobic.
They're just an evil person.
They're an evil person. I don't think they're evil because they're evil. I think it's evil because, you know, and like the solution, like, yeah, you need to kind of quench that and like stop it before it spreads. Yes, but the issue is that it's more a root problem where it's like, why did they get to that point in the first place?
Yeah.
And, like,
How
solve
did they
that.
become evil? What happened there?
So I think, because in this, like, we're talking so much about the States, I think, where that's like the easiest example right now to pinpoint.
Yeah, it's an easy example.
And I think for sure what went wrong is that they just didn't invest in education at all for the longest time. And it just like, it created this just very segmented population. And of course there's gonna be tension because of that. And yeah, I think, again, it's like, I want to believe that 99% people are good. You know, you have the 1% that are psychopaths and whatever, so there's going to be some evil. People, like, unfortunately, like snake oil salesmen that are going to take advantage, but the vast majority are good. And where it's interesting with the internet and where we're living, it's like everything's becoming more transparent that, you know.
The evil is being exposed.
It is. So it's actually, it's become easier to weed out the bad people, and it's like you almost learn where, you know, if they're bad, they probably have that reputation, and it's like you can find that, which is interesting. And then, yeah, like I'd want to believe that creates a more trusting society. Because there's also economic studies showing that societies that do the best are the ones that trust each other the most.
Okay.
Where like you're not worried, like you're not hating someone else, and like you're not, like, if you're trying to just keep everything for yourself, you don't succeed as a society. It's the ones that, you know, they're open with each other. You know, you lend someone $5 here or there. It's like, and it comes back, and you're open and you're freely trading. That's actually a society that works.
Okay.
So I think that's where that's just a more comfortable state for everyone. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm just uber optimistic.
No, for sure that makes sense, and I think it is correct.
Yeah.
And that is a better way that we should live life. But like, whether what's fucked up is that it's like, is the evil that these people believe, whatever it may be, to whatever extreme or to whatever minimal amount, is that evil their right to believe in that evil? Or should they be told, that's evil, what you're doing is wrong, you have to change? Or should they be told, you believe what you want, that's evil, we think it's evil whether you think so or not, but you can still do your thing and we'll coexist?
I think it's a bit of both, where this is where
it's so tough.
No, it is tough. It's because, you know, talk about free speech, and
that's it.
I think it's so important to preserve free speech. And this is the difference between like free speech and free action. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You know, if you're inciting violence, I think that's the line where it's like, nope, that's not okay, because that's hurting someone else. And this is where I'm kind of libertarian, where it's like, as long as you're not hurting anyone else, I'm like, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, where it's
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but that's where it's like, I think your question, like the answer then is, you know, if someone's being evil and like you see a group of people that are evil, like the actual goal of the rest of the population is to be like, this is wrong, and try to educate them. But it's like, you don't demonize them at the same time, because if you demonize them, then they become militant.
Yeah, that's true. And just
Like
demonizing is also like going down to the level. It's a form of like you're bringing negativity onto them. A form of I guess evil is now placed upon them as like, okay, you're this. We think of you like this, and then they think, okay, well, if they think of us like this is how we're gonna react.
Yeah,
I think it creates a situation. But yeah, I'm not sure if I believe that like if someone is doing evil but they're not hurting anyone else, that it's okay, they can do it. Because even if they're not physically hurting anyone else, what they're doing may have some sort of subconscious like effect on other people.
Yeah, give an example.
I don't know, like freedom of speech is probably the best example. Someone's not hurting anyone, they're just talking, but the way they're talking, the language that they're using, how they're like talking about other people, the way that they see the world and giving their opinion, they're not hurting anyone. They are for sure causing an effect and possibly hurting people in the future. But it's like, is that okay or not? Like,
this is where it's not okay. But I do think freedom of speech is such an important thing to have that like, that's where it's unfortunately, you know, you got to make a choice between one more. Yeah, you got to pick your battles. Where it's, you know, in that circumstance, I'm like, I'm going to choose the freedom of speech because if you start censoring, then it becomes a question of who's the censor, and that's a problem. That's a bigger problem because then you're impeding thought. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. You can't dive into someone's brain and like change their thoughts or like have an opinion on their thoughts because it's 100% their thoughts. Your opinion is no bigger or greater than them.
Of course.
Theirs.
And going back to that's why I think you can. It's possible to find a way to argue with anyone. Like not argue, but to have a conversation that's actually constructive and be like educating in that sense, where it's like, okay, you know, we disagree here so much. Like if someone who has an opinion that is like clear, like not clearly, but I want to say like, you know what, that is hurtful to like, society. Again, if they're racist, for example. Like it's one of those things. I think the best thing to do is almost like just sit down and talk to them and like really work it out. And that's really hard for a lot of people because again, we want to be like, oh, you're just evil. We're not going to deal with you. Instead of just like, oh, hey, you know what? This is just another person as well. Why is this a thing in their life? Like, why do they think that? And it's like actually like just
trying to find the root.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then have that conversation, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and yeah, it's going to take time, but
but it's
that's
so
the
deep.
way. That's the way to actually fix that problem. There's not a quick
find
fix.
the source. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, you have to find the source for sure. In most situations, it's like that for sure.
Yeah.
Because it all comes from somewhere.
I know.
Also when it's good too, like not just negativity, but also positive. When people are doing good for the world, you want to know where that's coming from because if you can spread that, I think that's good. Like obviously, it's funny how it's crazy. It makes sense. I mean, we're conscious beings, but it's funny how like some people really want evil. Like it feels good for them. Negativity feels good for them. Evil feels good for them, and the majority of people like happiness and positivity is what people want. But like, why is that? Like, I understand that's so deeply rooted in our brains and like as a species and how we evolved and everything. But it's like, why weren't we like a species that wanted evil and like there was a little bit of good?
I think that goes into sociology, and the reason that altruism is a trait in humans mostly is because as a species, we needed each other to survive. So there's actually just evolutionary benefits to being cooperative.
I think that'd be really cool in the future. That'd be something I'm not that interested in, like animal. I am very interested in animals and nature, but I'm not interested in like the technology behind it. But it'd be really cool if one day we could just know more about their world and their language and like just know more about it. I think it'd be fantastic. Like I think it'd be cool to be able to communicate a lot better with your pet or whatever it is. Like you can pretty well already, but I think it'd be really like, I think maybe, I don't know if that's coming or not, but being able to communicate on a human level, I guess, with an animal. Like, I don't know if that's even ever gonna happen.
I don't know if that's necessarily possible.
I think it's possible. I don't know if it's good, but I think it's possible. Like,
because when you talk about it on a human level, it's like that's...
Because then that means we have to bring... Yeah, exactly. A human level wouldn't make... Like, Yeah, that's tough because we are, I guess, the smarter species, but maybe not.
No, it just
we have to understand them before they can understand us. Whereas we can't really create something that their brain will kind of like, hey, understand the gibberish that's coming out of my mouth or what I'm doing, understand that. Whereas we have to understand them first for them to understand us, maybe.
Yeah,
Some people have mastered it though. There's like those people out there that like lie around in the desert with lions and is super chill. That lion guy, dude, that guy lives a sick life. I'm telling you, man. Watch those videos, please.
No, like I know
please.
what videos you were talking about.
Yeah. Great.
I don't know if like that's communicating or just.
I would for sure say he's communicating to them on some level. Maybe not with words, but like there's an energy there that he's giving off that is communicating with their energy, and it makes sense. And it's like, what is communication at that point? Like, what is the communication there? Which is really like, could be really in depth. It makes me believe that there's so much more to us that we're not getting. You know, they say we use 10% of our brain. I have no idea if that's true
That's
or not.
not true. That's a
not
fake.
true. Yeah, it's bullshit. But
That's
like
pseudoscience. It's like that's the thing. It's just like, hey, this is something that we can talk about. It's like,
no. But actually, I fully believe we aren't using our brain to its fullest capacity. We do use a lot of it, but I think there's a lot more that could be unleashed. Just because we're aware of that. Just because we're aware of what's going on in our brain and like how we can think like that. Meditation's a great example of that. You can go very deep into a certain state in your brain and kind of things like that. It's like, what's happening? Like, I know what's happening there, but like, there's more possibly.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like using your brain more, but it's just having better control over your body and over your mind. That's
and how you maybe choose to use it.
That's having control. That's, I think, the difference, but not. It's not about like using more of your brain.
No, that's a bad example. Like it's just a classic saying. But
I know. I'm just getting hung up on it for some reason. I'm like really.
No, but it's true. But like I think you're right. Like it's not about using more of our brain, but it's using our brain, controlling our brain in the right areas at the right time for whatever it may be. Yeah, that's super cool.
Because there's examples. I think there's like someone famous who like they can control almost their reaction to temperatures, like in deep cold.
Oh yeah, the Iceman or whatever.
Yeah, so that. So it's like.
But that's
deep concentration.
But that ties into like I guess his threshold for pain and stuff like that, and like mind over matter, like kind of I guess that saying like to wrap up that you can like fully mind over matter, you can fully like control the sensory going on, like that's insane. Just by the power of your brain, like. What's going on there? Like, and how can I get that, you know? Like, that'd be cool. Yeah, I don't know.
When I was a kid, you know, I did karate, swimming. I was like, did volleyball, basketball, high school, like wrestling, cross country, 4 years, rowing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah.
A bit all over the place.
That's the story of my life.
Do you play sports now at all or no?
No, I haven't done anything much in a while. Like I do know I'm gonna eventually get back to rowing because I loved it. Again, it got ruined in university, unfortunately.
Yeah.
University ruined a lot of things for me.
Good times.
Horrible times. This hello darkness to my old friend. That is university. Simon Garfunkel, just great. But yeah, no, it's like I look forward to that because I remember. What I loved about rowing was waking up early in the morning before the sunrise, and then going out onto the lake, and then the fog would be rolling, and like you'd have the sunrise. That was incredible.
Yeah. The atmosphere was just.
I love that. Here in Montreal, like where I would be rowing out of is just a basin, so it's just literally 2 kilometers straight, concrete slabs on each side.
Yeah.
It's not.
Where was
lake.
this like beautiful place that you were rowing?
Because I grew up in London, Ontario, so just like the lake there, Lake Fanshawe.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds
Fanshawe
awesome.
Lake. Yeah, no, it was
I've
awesome.
gone rowing like twice in my life. Super amazing. It was tough.
Oh, it's a hard sport.
Yeah.
You have to hate yourself to do it as a sport.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, like just kayaking and boating and canoeing. Like boating's different, but like just canoeing and kayaking and like being in silence and like being the power that is moving you.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
awesome.
cool.
But
yeah.
like at least competitive rowing, you have to hate yourself because the average race is 2 kilometers. Like that's the usual.
Wow.
And those races last anywhere between like 7 to 9 minutes, depending on what boat you're in.
And you're full tilt.
Yeah, it's the awkward length where like it's not short enough to be a sprint, but it's not long enough to not be a sprint. So you're basically just dying for 8 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the coolest things for sure to watch in like the Olympics and like the Summer Olympics. Dude, it's so badass. Like
It's
just
it's
looks
so painful.
It looks tough, but it's like one of those team sports, and it just it definitely looks and it's not like combat, like physical combat like that, or like hockey or whatever. It's like, and it's very mental too. Like it's a bit individual because you're yourself and you're part of a unit, but it's like there's so much mind aspect into that. Just like most one-on-one sports or most individual sports, it's like a lot of it's on you and being able to like motivate yourself or overcome something. Like that's super important.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Cool. So let's go play sports, dude.
Okay, let's go play sports. Let's sports it up.
I'm down.
Yeah, anyways, that's our show this week. We are produced by me. Our music is by Ashmana, and our logo is by Isabel Lee. Special thanks to our guest, Andrew,
today. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Do it again whenever, bro.
Whenever?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, if I'm available,